What up, YouTube? JJ Doesn't Make It back at y'all with another video. In today's video, we'll be looking at UFC Fight Night Qatar and the fights to make after this event. This event has big implications for the future of the UFC and sets up some of the biggest title fights of 2026. First fight we'll be matchmaking is Alexandre Topuria. He had a good performance against Arman, who's actually pretty good. He won 29-28 or 30-27, depending on how you scored one of the rounds. But he had a good performance. He was doing a lot of damage. He's very similar to Ilya in the sense, except his power is a little less there. But his skill set is pretty good. And I think he should fight Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt's a former champion. He's still a dangerous fighter, has a good chin. And if Topuria does beat Garbrandt, I think that calls an end for Garbrandt's career. But I think it's a good fight. If Topuria can beat him, that's a former champ he's added to his resume, and maybe a ranked opponent next after this. And that would be what, his fourth fight in the UFC being a ranked opponent. That's pretty good. But Cody's still dangerous, and I guess we'll see if that fight does happen. That would be very cool. Topuria versus Garbrandt. I think Dillashaw said that Garbrandt could beat Ilya. Not sure what the kid's smoking, but yeah, don't think that'll be happening. But if he can take out his older brother, that's pretty cool. Anyway, next fight, Asu Almabayev beat Alex Perez in a decent fight. Perez, I think, was winning up until Almabayev was able to sub him at the start of the third round. But yeah, pretty good performance by Almabayev. I think he should fight Steve Erceg. Now look, Erceg had a string of losses, but then he beat Ode Osborne in not an impressive performance. But still, he went to a good scrap with Pantoja. Pantoja's hardest fight as a champion so far, I think. And Almabayev's not one of these guys that's overly entertaining, so I don't think he'll be fighting up in the rankings. I think he'll be fighting around the same area as where he's at. And I think Erceg's a good opponent. Maybe they throw this on the Sydney card. Maybe Almabayev turns around. Who knows, but should be a pretty decent fight. For Perez, I think he should fight Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson's pretty good. He has wins over Lona Kavanagh and Joshua Van, which are pretty damn good. Perez was, I think, winning the fight from memory up until he got finished, and he was looking pretty good. And Johnson is a few spots down in the rankings, but I think Johnson is on the come up, and yeah, would love to see that fight. Horiguchi had a great performance beating Tajir. I had money on him. He was a big underdog, so it's great to see him win, and he's back in the UFC after 9 years. And I think he should fight Amir Albazi. Albazi was meant to fight someone. Was it Tatsuro Taira in like July or something in the Apex, but he pulled out due to injury. Hopefully by the time Horiguchi's ready to fight again, Albazi can fight. He's ranked 4 in the flyweight division, is Albazi, which is very high considering that his only real solid win on his resume is Kai Kara France, and even in that fight, he pretty clearly lost. Nonetheless, that fight should be good. If Horiguchi does win that, he could set himself up for a title eliminator, or maybe even a title shot. He called out Pantoja, which is pretty funny. I think they're teammates, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I like Horiguchi. He's one of my favorite fighters in this division, obviously, so should be pretty cool to see where his career goes. Hopefully they make this fight. I think this is a good matchup. And yeah, let's get on to the next fight. Shamil the Blob Gaziev got flatlined by Cortez Acosta in a round. I think we should do the Blobomania main event. Marcin Tybura, 2 blobs of the heavyweight division, and one of them's got to win, so we'll see. They're ranked, I think, within 1 spot of each other on the rankings. This makes sense. I mean, Gaziev had to fight Acosta on 2 days' notice, and he's Cortez Acosta's pretty good, so he did get flatlined in a round. He was meant to fight Spivak, and I think Tybura is just a worse fat version of Spivak. So yeah, let's get this fight done. That'd be Blobomania main event. So pretty cool For Cortez Acosta, I think he should fight Volkov. Now, Volkov did beat Almeida in his last fight, which was like a month ago or so. So if they make this fight, Volkov is on the very verge of getting a title shot, but it's tricky since he's not a massive name for the heavyweight title. Tsarukyan is probably going to get another opportunity, probably in March. I believe they may go to London. So Volkov's got to fight. Cortez Acosta is very active, so the UFC will reward him for that. He only lost to, what's the kid's name? Pavlovich, who's pretty good. I think they should do Pavlovich versus Blades maybe, and then this fight. But yeah, this just shows the state of the heavyweight division. The second versus the 6th ranked guy. I mean, it's not great. Nonetheless, Orobai just flatlined Jack Hermansson in a round. Pretty impressive, his move to welterweight. I think he should fight Kevin Holland. This will be entertaining. Kevin Holland is a hit-or-miss fighter, and I think he could bounce back against Orobai, but if Orobai puts away Holland, then that's pretty big for him. I don't think Kevin Holland's ever been knocked out in the UFC, and Orobai has power, so we'll see if he can get it done. Should be a interesting stylistic matchup. In terms of the personalities, Orobai is like this 10,000-year-old Chinese monk. Kevin Holland's just Kevin Holland. So we will see. Next up, the co-main event, Belal Muhammad. He did lose to Ian Garry. I had it 3-0 to Garry. But that's a tricky matchup for Belal. And his only other loss in the past, I think, 6 years was to Jack Della Maddalena. So he's sort of in a hard spot. The UFC doesn't really want to promote this guy for multiple reasons. I mean, one, he's not overly entertaining. Two, he's getting older. And three, of the country he supports. So they will probably do Belal versus Buckley, which is a pretty cool fight. Buckley did. For Belal, this is a good opportunity to come back. Buckley did get taken down by Usman. But for Buckley, this is a high-ranking opponent. And if he's able to put away Belal, I mean, that's pretty big for his career. He'll be able to bounce back massively and see if his takedown defense is good, because Usman's a good grappler and Belal wasn't able to land a single takedown on Ian Garry. I know Ian Garry's a good defensive wrestler, but still, for Buckley, this is an opportunity to knock or finish Belal, who hasn't been finished in like a bunch of years. Like 7 or 8 years, it feels like. So yeah, this would be a good fight for the welterweight division. I think Buckley's ranked 10, and Belal after this could be ranked at the 5 spot or around there. So this is a good fight for the welterweight division. Like I said, the welterweight division is probably the best division in the UFC. Anyway, moving on, Ian Machado Garry. He had a good performance against Belal. Belal never really able to kickstart any of the grappling. Ian Garry went 7 for 7 on takedown defense. Pretty damn good. And I think you should give him the title shot. He's, at this point, the most deserving contender at welterweight. His style is could present problems for Islam. He's 6'3", he's long, he's rangy kickboxer, and his grappling defense did look very good against Belal. He stuffed all the takedowns, was able to make space, was able to tag him up at distance. And Belal's tough, so some of the shots that Garry hit on Belal maybe could hurt Islam more. I know Islam's chin's not great. Maybe that was to the 155 weight cut, who knows. But you got Ireland versus Dagestan. This could be a pretty big fight wherever they do it. Maybe they do it at the White House, who knows. But pretty good title fight. It's not great. People don't love Ian Garry. He's not overly entertaining. But this could be a very tricky fight for Islam. Even though I think Islam will win, I think it'll be a very hard fight for him. I think it'll probably be 48-47 to Islam. I think Islam, people give a lot of respect to Ian Garry after this fight. Or he could win, who knows. Like I said, he's a tricky matchup for Islam. From what we've seen, his defensive wrestling is good. His defensive grappling and offensive grappling is pretty good. He was able to take Shavkat's back. But Islam is a whole nother level when it comes to grappling, especially at this division. the lighter man skill really shows. But Ian Garry's a good fighter, and yeah, could be a very tricky test for Islam. Next up, the main event, Dan Hooker getting finished in the second round. Arman looked great in the fight, but Hooker was never really able to get things going apart from some body kicks. So I'd do Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, I know I said Benoit should fight Gaethje, but I think they'll do Gaethje versus Paddy early next year, because we'll talk about what's happening with the title. So I think that'll be a title eliminator. And for Benoit, this is a step up in the rankings. For Hooker, it's a step down. This is a very cool fight. Benoit's made of iron. Dan Hooker's made of iron. We'll see which one breaks. Sort of the irresistible force versus the immovable object type shit. Whatever the fuck that means. But yeah, pretty cool. This will be like the 6th versus 8th ranked guy in the division. And yeah, good stuff. And now for the final fight to make, Arman Tsarukyan. Like I said, great performance from the man. And you got to give him the title shot. He said he was willing to fight in January. We'll see if he's a man of his word. That's not long. I mean, he's not going to be able to celebrate Christmas, but who really gives a shit? And yeah, I know Ilya's locked in. Ilya doesn't give a fuck about Christmas this year. So yeah, title shot to Arman. Who else is there? I mean, they could do Paddy, but he's only beat Michael Chandler. That's one ranked winner. Michael Chandler's not even in the top 10. Gaethje is all right, but he needs one more win. And I think if they do Gaethje versus Pimlet, they can give the winner a title shot. I think that's a good fight. Striking versus grappling. We'll see which one prevails. Hopefully they make that fight and don't just give Paddy a title shot, because then Gaethje will probably leave if he's a man of his word. So make this in January. I don't think either one of those dudes will be pissed, because Arman has actually earned the title shot. So, and I think this is a tough test for Ilya. I think the wrestling and the grappling of Arman is very active, very good, great ground and pound, good submission game. The striking is pretty good also, but I think Ilya will knock him out early in this fight if they make this fight, when this fight happens. Probably late round 1 knockout, I see. Maybe early round 2. But who else is there for Ilya in this division that's earned it right now? You can't really say anyone. I think Holloway still is the toughest test, because to beat Ilya, you have to fight perfectly for 25 minutes, or you have to fluke him. And I don't think Arman can fight 25 minutes perfectly, especially on the feet, which Ilya is a great grappler. We saw it against Charles. So I just think the fight's going to be on the feet for an extended period of time. Have Ilya fight the deserved #1 contender. Anyways, that was UFC Fight Night Qatar fights to make video. We'll see if any of these do get made. Hopefully all of them do, because I think that's the best path for the UFC to move forward to. Give Arman a title shot against Ilya. Give Garry a title shot against Islam. Make a bunch of these fights. And looking into 2026, the UFC is in a pretty good spot, especially with these divisions. They're pretty good. And yeah, that's been the video. Like, subscribe, do all that shit, and I'll catch y'all in a bit.